facts before us are clear. President Trump did not merely seek to benefit from foreign interference in our elections. He directly and explicitly invited foreign interference in our election.
America will see why most people don't go to law school. No offense to our professors. But please, really, we're bringing you in here today to testify on stuff that most of you have already written about, all four, for the opinions that we already know, out of the classrooms that maybe you're getting ready for finals in, to discuss things that you probably haven't even had a chance to read. Unless you're really good on TV or watching the hearings for the last couple of weeks, you couldn't have possibly actually digested the Adam Schiff report from yesterday or the Republican response in any real way.
The situation is pretty straightforward. President Trump didn't just want to take advantage of foreign interference in our elections. He outright invited it. What's especially fascinating is how candid he was when he stood in front of House Republicans at their party retreat and openly expressed his fears about impeachment. He didn't sidestep the issue or dress it up in fluffy language. He simply said, "If you guys lose the midterms, I'm done. They'll impeach me." That moment is telling, particularly given how he has always projected an image of being untouchable, as if nothing could ever bring him down. Yet here he was, standing before his own party, essentially pleading for their support, fully aware of the consequences if they failed to deliver.
Will a slipshod impeachment make us less mad? Will it only invite an invitation for the madness to follow every future administration? That is why this is wrong.
There are some additional high crimes and misdemeanors that are specifically identified in the text of the Constitution, correct?
Yes, that's true.
What are they?
Treason and bribery.
Do President Trump's demands on Ukraine also establish the high crime of bribery?
So here's the deal. On January 6th, 2026, Trump found himself sitting with his Republican allies, the very people expected to rally behind him. Instead of celebrating achievements or firing them up, he was practically begging them to win the midterms. His message was blunt. You have to win the midterms, or they'll find a reason to impeach me. It's honestly shocking that he said it out loud. This is the same man who has always acted invincible, now openly admitting that his presidency depends entirely on Republicans holding Congress. And, frankly, he's not wrong. While Trump is warning his party about looming disaster, Democrats and a coalition of advocacy groups are busy laying the groundwork to remove him from office. This isn't just online outrage or protest signs fueled by anger. We're talking about formal impeachment resolutions already filed in Congress, complete with detailed articles outlining specific allegations. There are mass petition drives gathering tens of thousands of signatures, coordinated campaigns backed by lawyers, activists, and well-funded organizations, all repeating the same message: impeach Trump again and remove him this time. What's striking is that they've assembled a substantial case, 7 separate articles of impeachment. These range from tyranny and corruption to undermining Congress's authority over war powers and federal spending. These are not vague accusations. Each article points to specific actions where Trump allegedly crossed constitutional lines. All of this is sitting there like a loaded gun, ready to fire the moment Democrats gain the votes they need. What we're witnessing now is a high-stakes political standoff. On one side, Trump is warning Republicans that losing the House means impeachment. On the other, Democrats and their allies are essentially responding, yes, that's exactly the plan. And at the center of it all are the 2026 midterm elections, which have become a referendum on whether Trump even finishes his second term. This has moved far beyond policy disagreements. It's a serious question about whether the sitting president will complete his 4-year term or whether Congress will step in to cut it short. Many people dismiss impeachment talk as political noise or routine partisan complaining. But this time it's different. This effort is organized, deliberate, and strategically coordinated. When you look at what's been filed, who's involved, and how long this has been building, it becomes clear that this is not a distant fantasy. It's a real campaign with momentum. At the center of this effort is House Resolution 353, introduced in April 2025, which lays out 7 articles of impeachment against Trump. The accusations are serious: tyranny, bribery, corruption, abuse of war powers, misuse of congressional appropriations, and violations of the separation of powers. The resolution argues that Trump has governed more like a monarch than a constitutional president, using his office for personal gain and to punish political opponents. Each article is carefully constructed and tied to specific actions meant to withstand legal and political scrutiny. A major focus is Trump's use of military power. Critics argue that he has authorized military actions and issued threats without proper congressional approval. There's also the financial angle. Claims that Trump has used the presidency to enrich his businesses while ignoring constitutional limits on emoluments. Taken together, this represents a coordinated attempt to remove him from office before his term ends. Alongside the congressional effort is a national campaign literally called Impeach Trump Again. The name says it all. Supporters argue that while Trump was impeached twice before, Congress failed to follow through with removal. And this time, they intend to finish the job. That effort is backed by a coalition known as the Removal Coalition, which includes organizations like Citizens Impeachment, Free Speech for People, and the Women's March. These are not fringe groups. They are established organizations with funding, legal teams, and national networks. They accuse Trump of governing like an authoritarian, using language such as tyranny and even treason, and claim he has weaponized federal forces against Americans. From attacks on the press to intimidation of judges, they argue these actions amount to systemic abuse of power that threatens democratic foundations. Grassroots energy is also playing a major role. One petition drive, known as Blackout the System, had gathered nearly 98,000 signatures by mid-January 2026. Supporters cite greed, corruption, and a lack of accountability as reasons for impeachment. In an election year, that kind of momentum matters. It puts pressure on Democratic lawmakers to act or explain why they won't. Trump clearly recognizes the threat. At the House Republican retreat on January 6th, instead of dismissing impeachment talk, he said outright, "If we lose the midterms, I will be impeached." He's acknowledging that Republican control of Congress is the only barrier standing between him and another impeachment. That brings us to the 2026 midterms, which are shaping up to be among the most consequential in modern history. If Republicans hold the House, Trump likely finishes his term. If Democrats take control, impeachment efforts gain immediate traction. While conviction in the Senate would still require a two-thirds majority, a high bar, even a third impeachment would be historic and politically devastating. Polling currently shows Democrats leading Republicans by roughly 4 points in congressional preference, 46% to 42%. While these numbers could change, if they hold, Trump's warning could quickly become reality. History suggests removal is unlikely. No president has ever been removed through impeachment. Nixon resigned, Johnson and Clinton survived Senate trials, and Trump himself was impeached twice and acquitted both times. But impeachment alone can be deeply damaging. It dominates headlines, paralyzes an agenda, and defines a presidency. This time feels different because Trump himself is sounding the alarm. When a president known for projecting strength publicly admits fear of impeachment, it signals real vulnerability. The infrastructure is already in place. Resolutions filed, legal arguments prepared, advocacy campaigns mobilized. If Democrats win the House, they could act immediately. There's also the political reality that Trump is term limited. He can't run again. That changes the calculation for Republican senators thinking about 2028. Defending a lame duck president with mounting controversies may not feel worth the cost. If impeachment proceeds, the House Judiciary Committee would hold hearings, vote on the articles, and send them to the full House. A simple majority would mean Trump is impeached for a third time, something unprecedented. A Senate trial would follow, and while conviction remains unlikely, the process alone would cripple his presidency. Ultimately, Trump's warning reveals the truth. Even without removal, impeachment weakens him. It undermines his image of strength and control. For someone whose identity revolves around winning, that damage may be worse than removal itself. We are approaching a constitutional showdown with the 2026 midterms as the trigger. If Republicans hold the House, Trump likely survives. If Democrats flip it, his remaining time in office becomes a battle for political survival. The fact that a sitting president is openly warning his own party about impeachment if they lose an election says everything about our political moment. This is not routine partisan fighting. It's a presidency hanging on a single election. What happens next depends on voters. November 2026 will determine whether Trump finishes his term or whether Congress steps in to cut it short. Either way, this is only the beginning, and it's something everyone should be paying close attention to.